Okay, I got it. So in the holistic health guide, the first category is mindset. I can tell you a lot of things about me, of tests that I take. So the Enneagram test, the Myers-Briggs test, the love language test. However, these do not determine whether or not we succeed in life or not, because everybody has a different definition of success. I can tell you about my strengths and my weaknesses. That will determine something about my success, because it's who I am, and it's going to show if I have skills that drive forward. So most of the times in manifestation, and this is the part where, how I want to say this, some people might like what I'm about to say, and some people might not like about what I'm about to say. But this will go back to the theory of, today we're going to talk about horsetail. So this is going to be intertwined today. Why horsetail? Because it's about the skin. And guess what's the actual affirmation, or what goes back with the skin, is who's getting under your skin. However, instead of looking at that question outwardly, I want you guys to think of the inward. How am I getting under my own skin? You see, when we turn around and we seek to ask ourselves these questions, because we're always putting the questions and we're putting them outwardly. I want you guys to start turning inwardly. When we do personal development, personal growth, that is the inward journey. That's why a lot of people avoid it. So when we go to skin troubles, it's trying to call the shots in someone else's life. Dominating, possessive, being irritated by a person close to you. Then skin diseases goes back to unresolved feelings of irritation, unresolved feelings of criticism, disturbed reactions over trivial things, disturbed reactions over trivial things, lack of security, feelings of impatience, feeling bored, feeling unsettled. So skin rashes go back to inner conflict surfacing. Someone or something is irritating you, feeling frustrated of not being able to accomplish something. Ooh, feeling frustrated about not being able to accomplish something. So today I want to uncover something that goes very deep that I've learned a long time ago. However, there's a part with us knowing the information versus it dropping down into our body and our body being the information. The different parts of, can someone monitor the chat so that way any skin disease, whether it's the big C word or not, is going to be included. So the part when we go back into how do we manifest in our lives? So if I know that I'm a person that talks too much, then what I may do is go follow someone who teaches public speaking. The reason I would do that is because I would learn to pause. I would learn when two people speak at the same time and I can't hear them, to ask them to repeat themselves. I would stop assuming of what someone said and ask for more clarification. I would be able to get on stage and speak from my story rather than trying to make a speech that I'm unqualified for. Those would go into my strengths, which would be my problem solving skills versus my talking too much. In the part of mindset is actually getting to know yourself better. And if you're not writing, I literally have in my notes, I have a folder called personal, and in there is my Myers-Briggs, my nonviolent communication information, the things I want to remember about it, my part of who I am in my love languages, my part of who I am in the Enneagram test, my part, any test I take, I literally have it in there. I have one that just says strengths and then weaknesses. And as I learn myself, I put them there. The reason we get to know ourselves better is because in the only way you can seek clarity, which in mindset, in law of attraction, in high performance, in anything you sit down to do with a high level coach, they're going to tell you, you have to envision the future. You have to determine the feelings you're after, and you have to define what's meaningful. Because if everybody in this space today has a different answer for that. Not one, we may share something of a common ground, but everybody's motivation is different. If you don't know why you're driving, you won't stay consistent. And this is why. This is the secret sauce. Today, I'm going to teach you guys something that so few people teach today, because it gets down to something that in natural health, we actually know about: the nervous system. Your magical superpower is your nervous system. In the last 3 weeks, I have had more very close colleagues, people over and over again have huge breakthroughs with their nervous system, but also breakdowns with their nervous system. Okay, now let's start with the basics. The nervous system consists of the central nervous system, the CNS, 5 senses: smell, touch, taste, hear, speak, and skin. Well, touch, see. Okay, central CNS, central nervous system. Then we have the brain. Ask Becky. The other day, I was actually showing them the eyes, showing them how the brain perceives information and how it shoots it back. Guys, when the eyes see it, guess what? The brain, the back of the brain has to flip the picture around for you to see it properly. We forget about the brain and all its, I literally have brain charts. I know what part works. So I personally am certified in Dr. Amen's work. When he was the guest speaker for a whole convention at one of the herbal companies that I represented, where a lot of my former education came from. Then we have the spinal cord. The spinal cord. Guys, if you don't know or do forward bends or do sun salutations, you'll never, ever, ever understand the benefits of your spinal cord. Why sun salutations? It opens up every aspect and it does every single motion for the spinal cord. Then we have the peripheral nervous system, the cranial. So that's going to be the bones that protect it. And then the spinal. So the peripheral nervous system is the cranial, the spinal, and then the peripheral nerves. So that's the extremities, the nerves on the ends of your fingers, ends of your feet, different things like that. The entire nervous system allows us to have a holistic experience. or a disaster. It allows us to feel, to think, to be. It's important to understand, in order to develop abilities to manifest ideas into reality, you need to think, feel, do, be what you want your reality to look like. If you want to continue to be a hot mess, then keep doing what you're doing and don't change yourself and get off this call right now. Because guess what? You're not coachable yet, and you will be one day when you're ready, because evidently you came to soul because you want your peripheral nervous system calmed down. You ever asked yourself, why did I choose soul, not why did soul choose me? Why did I choose soul? Let's say you would start a nonprofit organization that benefits homeless people, but you rarely worked with homeless people. Nor are you the person that donates money to an organization that helps homeless people. If you are honest, the idea comes from your need to raise your social status, to gain access to a specific club that requires you to do volunteer work. Okay, so let's go back with this. If you wanted to do something you've never done before, you buy soul and you decide, I'm pushing that button. And as a matter of fact, while I'm going to say that button, right now, we have an electronic book version button for $25 in the back office. A person can become a specialist right now for $25. Are you emailing your members? Because remember last week I talked about creating your email list and you're trying to figure out what I'm emailing them. How about you invite them and let them know that there's a $25 option to becoming a member? And a very good question was asked about what is the benefits of somebody becoming a member. Well, we could make that whole list of the strengths and weaknesses of becoming a member.
Chris, are you talking about a member or a specialist?
A member becoming a specialist.
Member becoming, okay, thank you.
And we have that $25 electronic offer right now. Or if you're signing up a new person and they buy $150 and they choose to come in as a specialist, listen to me. A specialist can come in at $150 order with the $25 off, save 25, and they can become a specialist. The member, in order to save 25, has to be at 250. Are we promoting that? It made me think of Jordan's call yesterday, and it's like, what could, okay, so I'm teaching you guys to set up the email. Now we have to have something to email people. So if we're breaking down our email list by specialists, group of members, clients, customers, you see, if you have it broken down by groups, then you know when you're going build in Google Drive or you're going build in Outlook, you know how you're going to build the template email. And guess what? You just change the language for each category. So if it's new people, you can invite them to make a $150 order and get their, become a specialist for free, because the $25 savings gives them that, and they're just ordering, but they're a specialist, guys. Did everybody really truly understand that new concept of not having to have the $75? Okay, because that's our nervous system. We heard, watch how I'm going to do this. You see, our nervous system hears information. However, when we are in overload, we skip over understanding the details, because we may say to ourselves, oh, I don't have time to hear that right now. Oh, so I think the thing I'm trying to, so now I'm going to go with number one of nonviolent communication is observe the situation without evaluating or judging. So I did teach nonviolent communication. We do have that as a recording. It is something that is available for purchase. It is a very low price. It just helps me pay for how it costs to make it, I promise. So nonviolent communication is observe the situation without evaluating or judging. So if I stop evaluating or judging, then I'm not projecting, oh, he's not going to sign up because he takes too long, or that person's not really interested. That's your observation and your objection. Oh, he's going to have such a rough life because his mom's an addict. Oh, he's going to do this. And this is where the triggers come in, guys, because we don't realize how much we project onto other human beings in every aspect of life. That's the nervous system. That's where you're breaking down how you're manifesting. You see, when we can drive the nervous system and have it, a Black Hawk pilot's nervous system is born on. He knows how to control it with breathing. He knows how to get himself back in, how am I going to call it? I call it save face. He knows how to get back into save face. He knows how to not even make an expression. An attorney does that. He knows how to be in a courtroom and never give a facial expression. So therefore the opponents can't read them, or there are multiple ways that people learn the magical superpowers of our nervous system. Okay, so if we came into soul and we want to build a business, okay, well, first, you see pineapple season's coming. We want it all yesterday. But we don't realize, yeah, it might take me 2 years to understand it. Oh, but you don't understand. I came in, I did all of this. Well, guess what? What you did was you came in excited. You came in and you were telling everybody, and then you maxed out. You plateaued at your comfort level, your comfort zone, and your friend reach. And your nervous system went in overdrive because you didn't know how to tap into your friends, because that's not a skill level you developed. That's part of your nervous system. That's where you go into, oh, I'm the customers and oh, this and oh, that. And you see, that's when you drive your nervous system further away from manifesting exactly what you want, rather than saying, hey, how can I reach out to 5 people and just say, hey, do you know somebody that would be interested in natural health? That's all you're doing. Every time you have, anytime I have a conversation with a woman who is a mortgage broker who, writes loans, every time I see her, because I met her through Allie way back when Allie was at her senior year of high school. Guess what she does every time I see her? Hey, you know anybody who's who's getting ready to build a house? You know anybody who's going to be needing a loan? Hey, I'm available, and I'm all over Mississippi now, Louisiana, and Texas. I can do all 3 states. And guess what? I turn around and I do. Hey, you ever thought about taking supplements yet? Because her and I have had the conversation. But okay, so you see, this is part of the nervous system, because the nervous system says, oh, I don't know how to talk in front of people. Oh, I don't know how to invite people. Oh, I don't know how to ask. Well, I promise you one thing, them real estate agents and those mortgage brokers and people like that, they have their 2-minute speech ready. They know who they are. You see, it's more about going in and finding out why are you not sitting down and really finding the answer. So number 1 is, are you coachable? Number 2 is, are you reaching out to a coach if you need a specific area of coaching? And that's where the details come in with the nervous system. So watch the next sentence on the way the lady's going to think about, her social status, because she wants the nonprofit to work with homeless people. No matter how much you want to manifest your project's success, you are not going to be successful with it. The reason is Manifesting isn't a shortcut. Why is it not enough to just believe that your dreams will come true? Because you see, in the law of attraction, what absolutely is if you don't get to what your belief system is. So watch, I'm going to go back to high performance, determine the feelings you're after, and define what's meaningful. So if I were to tell you my strengths and my weaknesses, number one is I am generally interested and curious about human behavior. And that's why I'm good at it. Because I read it, I study it, I have books on it. I've done it since I am 16 years old. So in the self-discovery, what I went back and what was I interested in my teen years? What did I do in my 20s? What did I do in my 30s when I was doing Chris? When I was being Chris. You see, what happens today is we go to school for our parents. We go to school because that's what's going to make everybody happy. We do this for that reason. We do this for this reason, but we don't come in and find the clarity of who am I? Then we don't work on up-leveling our nervous system. Your nervous system, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to read this again for the ones who came in a little later. Your nervous system, your central nervous system, your peripheral nervous system. In the first book I ever wrote, I have two different lists of what drives each one of those. It is the ideas into, okay, so it's how we put ideas into reality. How we need to think, feel, do, and be what you want your reality to look like. I would like, if you so choose, everybody to put a hashtag, and it's actually 8333. If anybody's already at that, then up level it to the next one. All you do is ×2. If you don't know how to do math, call me. I can do it on my calculator. It's a joke, guys. Okay, remember, this is the groundbreaking rule for mindset. You have to get the nervous system out in balance. You have to. So one would say, well, how do I do that? You get rid of your shit. Instead of projecting onto other people, you empower with nonviolent communication. And I'm going to repeat this all over again, because you can take any course you want in Bible, from the religious world, from the psychology world. Guess what? All people who are pastors or priests or anything took psychology classes. Hello, America. Psychology is psychology. It's the study of human behavior. Anybody who is in a leadership role has some type of knowledge in psychology. There are many forms of psychology. There are 7, 8 different ways in which you can study it. However, we're talking about the human behavior and how we drive forward and how we correct the mindset. So one would say, how do I get my nervous system back in order? Then I'm going to answer you again by the way you think. So correct your thinking. That's, if you don't know how to correct your thinking, take a class on nonviolent communication. You have to know which one of these you're the weakest on. Think, feel, do, and be what you want reality to look like. So that means you stop responding to everyone. And I'm going to make y'all laugh. Today, I'm going back to Horsetail in the Green book. And horsetail is silica. And under page 53, write prostate, hair, and skin. So horsetail is silica, and then the 3 words, prostate, hair, and skin. So when we look, I started off this conversation, you see, because most skin issues go back to a mindset issue with self, not the rest of the world. Or you're so worried about what the rest of the world is thinking about you for. So think about that. One of the major things I want you to underline on horsetail is vitamin K. Do you know that horsetail is vitamin K? It's so interesting that everybody says, oh, I got to take something, but I got to take it with vitamin K. There are so many items that we have vitamin K in. One time I asked somebody, so where your vitamin K comes from? They couldn't answer your question. They just know that your doctor told them. And I'm going to tell you, the medical community is this. They go to a seminar, they say, oh, if you're going to recommend this, you have to take this with that. So make sure you recommend that to your patients. Bye, chill out, go home. They don't know what vitamin K is made out of or what it's in. Because ask a doctor, I did that to 2 of them. They couldn't answer me. Under the medical action, I want you to add prostate for in the Green Greens book. I want you to add prostate. And then it's in our Soul Royal and it's in our Soul Complete. It's in our Soul Royal and it's in our Soul Complete. There is, and you know that it is a non-flowering plant. And it looks just like bamboo or a fern that grows in Europe. Let me let Becky in, guys. Sorry, I forgot to. Sorry, I should have left the back one locked. So to give you guys a visual, I did bring up a picture. Let's see where it went. I have too many screens open. I wanted to talk about several. Here it is. Okay. So share screen. So when we look at, this is what horsetail looks like. It's the strand that we use looks like this, because there are different strands. One of the things that happens is that it really is from the bamboo family, and we would think that it would look, you know, this is common horsetail. However, the one we use has more of the little furry like, because it's the one from Europe. The I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not even going to try. So we have a little visual on what the horsetail looks like. Horsetail is what we just talked about. Yeah. So on the horsetail, one of the big parts that I want to bring up is people have been asking me about skin issues. It is the #1 item recommended for like eczema, psoriasis, any type of dermatitis, itching, rashes, hives, everything across the board. It's a hair, skin, and nail. One of the big things with skin is if we go back to when I taught the 14-day detox, and you go back into the liver, and you're going to see when it's coming out the skin, all the other channels go determine what's clogged. That's why we have to take things slower with a person with skin issues, because you have to start cleaning up the environment. And then you let them know that the elephant is in the pouch. It got conceived, and it's going to be 18 months to 2 years. Why? Because if they don't change who they are and who they want to become, and don't have a vision. I knew one thing 2 years ago. I wanted to no longer be reactive to everyone's words. And I didn't realize how much sound for my nervous system was of a great impact. So I'm going to go back and talk about ringing of the ears. If I go back when my nervous system went haywire, navigating grief or any type of stressful event, and not finding joy and only being reactive and only being judging and only evaluating every single thing, you will not settle your nervous system in. So the part is that I knew I needed to settle my nervous system. And what worked for me was when I started engaging in becoming a yoga teacher instructor. You see, we do what we do. I don't see Horsetail on the bag of Royal. Okay, maybe they didn't put it in. I thought it was in Royal. I apologize. Bamboo is, I'm sorry. Bamboo is, and it is from the bamboo family, because Green Book, me and Becky have finally determined, is about all of the greens in all of our products, not just the Avant greens. So, because last week we did passion flower, which will help with the nervous system. So can you guys see how Bella Health is the foundation of how we start working with somebody? And because of the simple fact, when you're taking it on an empty stomach, it's helping rebuild the nervous system. I can honestly say I have been on Bella Health in May. There were 2 years. It is by far what has changed me more than anything else was being the consistent on taking those Vertizymes and Probio on an empty stomach to drive down autoimmune proteins streaming in my bloodstream. Stop calling it all the diseases it is. If it falls under autoimmune, the protocol in the trifold is built for autoimmune issues. And guess what? We can go down the medical routes. We can spend tens of thousands of dollars like all the people with ALS are doing, and they chasing everything instead of just doing the work. That's a nervous system overload, because they're looking for a miracle. A miracle is stay on the products for 2 years and see the miracle that happens. Anybody who's been on the products for 2 years has testimonies that go back to that. Horsetail looks like a coarse horsehair. So it's good for the hair. Actually, it benefits for nearly all connective tissue. It also grows in wet sands, so it is a remedy for the kidneys. Thus, the shape and color and sensory impressions and habitual all can be used to determine the use of the plant. You see, what happens is a plant. I was cutting this weekend in my orange trees, the grass underneath, or there wasn't that much, but I had to get in the tree because a couple of vines wanted to take over and go up the tree. When I broke one of the limbs, because they're in bloom right now, you could even smell it in the branch, the orange hue, the smell, because we can actually take the leaves of orange trees, the stems of orange trees, and still have a chemical compound of what the fruit will be like because of its nutrients base, because the nutrients have to come from the stem. The ideas of clarity have to come from the nervous system. If you aren't meditating, praying, doing yoga, doing some kind of inward work, you will not accomplish the end result of driving the nervous system down. You have to practice it. That is bottom line. And you have to change your words, guys. Words will either make you overly anxious, or they will help calm things down. I thought I had found it. Hold on one second. I thought I brought up the action of horsetail and I wanted to go into it, but I don't see it on my sheet right now. So I apologize. I brought up a lot of information and had it kind of in the area, then you kind of lose it. So the part goes back to in the nervous system, and when we are working on rebuilding the nervous system, how important do you think helping the structural system is? So I want to go back to the word anger, because you see a lot of items are what we call vented anger, meaning that our words that we use project or judge anger outwardly. So when we don't get something that we don't understand, instead of asking better questions, we project onto other people. Okay. How can horsetail or a sound structural system, nervous system works well? A sound structural system's nervous system works well. So anger is when we are not satisfied in life. It goes under the subwords of furious, irate, livid, outraged, resentful, and enraged. A lot of times we don't want to face our resentfulness of other people. This is not good for your nervous system. You must resolve resentfulness of other people if you want to manifest more. You will plateau and you will never get to that next level. And I use those words very precise because of the simple fact that that is your block. That is a major block. And this is the interesting part. Low levels of silica in the body are associated with osteoporosis. Silica helps prevent bone from being absorbed, as well as stimulating new bone growth. That's called osteoblasts and osteoclasts, and regulating deposits of other minerals like calcium and phosphorus in that bone tissue. So watch this. The number one mineral depletion in the bone is stress. Nervous system. Anybody that you talk to of when was the onset of their autoimmune, if you really can get them to go back, it was the beginning of a stressful event in their life. Silica is also associated with healthy arteries and veins. It appears to protect against arteriosclerosis or plaque that gets deposited in arteries as a result of damage or scarred tissue. And it literally goes back to silica is the overlooked mineral, trace mineral. There are a lot of benefits that you can read about on silica or horsetail. But one of the biggest areas I want you to think about is recently, I had a child that, a woman who contacted me about her child. And she sent me some pictures and I said, will you be open to do things, a little different? And so we inserted Omitox anally. And we did it every 4 hours with this child for a whole day. The next day, she just did it once a day. The next day, she did it once a day. And the rash on the skin started decreasing because we had a way to absorb the toxins in a person's body. Okay. Today, the biggest takeaway I would like for you guys to think about is the way in which that you have the first step to manifestation is getting your nervous system under control. If you have trauma, then you need to work with a person who resets that trauma. It's called somatic nervous system reset. There are a lot of different ways you can reset the nervous system. My point to you is if you don't start finding what's going to reset it, the vagus nerve, I know how to do the vagus nerve reset. You can YouTube that. There's a lot of nervous system resets. One will not work if you don't do what? Start feeling, meaning you have to stop projecting. There's people who are triggers in your life. They're your biggest, they are your biggest teachers. Instead of reacting, start writing why it's irritating you, but get very specific and stop being judgmental. And what's going to happen is that now, after you have those, and stop at 4. 4 is enough for the nervous system to deal with. Then what you're going to do is look at the one that's the top one. If you don't know what it is, send them to me. I'll muscle test and I'll tell you which one it is. The part is when you're going to go back to that one word, you're going to go start journaling about it in yourself, because the only way you can keep judging or reacting to other people by triggers is because it still exists inside of you. Get the veil, get the splinters out your eyes, get the needle out the camel's eyes, open your eyes, guys. It's inside of you. It is not the external world.
Chris, I have a question. When you said stop at 4 things, are you talking about stop at 4 triggers?
Or triggers.
Okay.
Yes. I should have, thank you for clarifying the word trigger. I should have said, because when you are working on the nervous system, you need to narrow it down to a couple of items. When I was working on my nervous system, I dealt with 3. Okay, so I'm going to say you deal with self, you have interactions, and then you have successes. Most of the times you need to start with self, and then the self automatically goes into the interactions. When I had the interaction part, I got down to the 3 people that stayed on my mind all the time. Then I went and learned how to write a letter from joy. And I went learn to write a letter from how that person amazingly impacted my life. And then my communication skills got very clear on the part of where I didn't come from attacking. I didn't come from anything. I asked the question, would you please help me in understanding Am I not giving you enough information? Like, in other words, get your emotions out the way, but what is the number one underlying issue between you and that person? And ask for clarity. Don't project. Ask for clarity. Don't project. Don't judge. Don't evaluate. You've got to get inside of yourself and ask for clarity, or you have to have a boundary. This is the hardest thing you'll ever do, is in dealing with yourself. Recaps, thoughts. Today, I really, really hope that I can help your ceiling be raised. If you had an 8-foot ceiling, I want it at a 10 now. I want to raise your ceiling 2 feet. Your ceiling is the way in which you manifest in your life. The manifestation's number one attainment you have to get to is controlling your nervous system, building. If you don't know how, then go read any guy who's a Navy SEAL, a Black Heart pilot. Go find a book on somebody who has done it. They will teach you the breathing. Wu Han, he will teach you that it's breathing that helps you not freeze to death. He can get in any cold temperature for breathing. I'm going to tell y'all what the trick is. Breathing. Breathe every day. Breathing exercises are imperative. That's why I did yoga, because guess what? I have 5 breathing techniques I can drop into at any given moment. That is what has helped me reset my nervous system, guys. There's no miracle out there. You can go spend $26,000 for a coach. I just gave you rule number 1. You can go to any college degree. You can take all the psychology classes. You can go to every therapist on the book, the counselors on the book, and everything. If you don't do the breathing techniques and reset your nervous system, you're just going to have somebody to talk to who just points out some things that you need to correct. Can I have any feedback, any takeaways? Because this, in order for this to be really called leadership, we have to stack on what people heard. How did it impact them? How did it help them for tomorrow? Or did this not help at all? Then we need to can this subject. Let me stop recording, guys. Sorry.